Hello and welcome. It is my pleasure today to introduce two very special people to the Lokwani audience. I have today with me Ram Kevalur, who is the Chief Strategy Officer, and Santosh Kumar, who is the Chief Development Officer for the Americas for a company called Micrographio. The two of them are organizing a multi-city US roadshow and are hosting a special event in Burlington Marriott on Tuesday, April 25th, for the business leaders to meet and interact with delegates from the Karnataka Digital Economy Mission, KDEM, from the state of Karnataka. So really, it is my pleasure to have the two of you on this call today. And I would love to learn more from you, Santosh. What is KDEM? Tell us about it, and how can our Lokwani audience register for this event and be part of it?
Thank you very much, Ranjani ji, for inviting us. So I'm from Bangalore, and so I'm from Karnataka, and this is very special for me. Karnataka is now, from an industry standpoint, it's beyond Bangalore and carries a very strong legacy and history of being a center of excellence and good governance right from the time of the Vadayars, during the colonial period. There are many less known facts actually about Karnataka. As a matter of fact, just to give you a simple example, the total spend of Indian students outside of the US is close to $75 billion. And of which there are about 750 students who travel out. And from that, 250 students go from Karnataka. These are facts that people don't know about, right? So Karnataka Digital Economy Mission is an organization that is part of the government, but they run like a private agency that works with a lot of industries globally. And they work on the pulse of all the growth that's happening within the state as it relates to particularly a lot of the new business and startups and the technology-driven industries, right? And they're all bursting on the seams, and there's so much more happening beyond Bangalore. So this event is a part of a 5-city roadshow to bring awareness of what KDEM, that is Karnataka Digital Mission, offers, and how it can attract a lot more businesses to come in, and how it can also address the questions that investors and people who are interested in investments can have a lot of answers to. So that's essentially what it is.
And fantastic. And I think we will put on our video here the QR code for registering for the event so that people can come and be part of the event. And I'm sure actually Boston has a lot of entrepreneurs, and I'm sure many people will be very interested to see what you're doing, especially in tier 2 cities in Bangalore. So that's a really exciting and good opportunity for all of us, I think. And now over to you, Ram. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about Micrographio? And I heard it was awarded by the FICCI as a fabulous social impact organization, not just a company, So could you tell us more about that?
Definitely, Ranjani ji. Thank you, first of all, for hosting us and giving us a medium to connect to the larger New England audience. We are very pleased to be here. Just as how Santosh pointed, there is a lot of focus on showing the prowess of Karnataka as a state beyond Bengaluru. Because Bengaluru, as we all know, has been the crown jewel of Karnataka for the last 20-25 years. But now over the last 5 years, there's been a lot of focus on developing Karnataka beyond Bengaluru, because the model of operating only from metro cities is not sustainable in India, because all the metro cities are truly bursting at the seams. And there are many other challenges that have been brought because of the hyper growth over the last 10-20 years. So Karnataka is leading the way in making sure that the whole of the state is available for good quality of life and office infrastructure. And where we come in as a company called Micrographio in Greek actually means small offices. Okay, and what our vision is that we have to provide work opportunities to every citizen in India or every resident in India within 10-15 minutes of where they live. Right? That is the larger vision with which we operate. And how we do that is through the following means, right? So if you look at how the spectrum of work has evolved over the last 20 years, till I would say till 2015, everybody moved into a city like Bangalore. They lived in the city, and they would commute to work every day. Typically, it would take 60 minutes to 90 minutes one way to get to work and come back. It's only increasing every day. Then came COVID. Because of COVID, everybody had to move home. And if people had to stay home, they decided, let me go back to my hometown and actually live with my family, right? And they started living at home and working from home. But working from home is not a model that is sustainable in the long run as a permanent solution, right? Because it lacks various aspects of a healthy, work relationship that every employee needs to have with the client and the employer. But at the same time, if you have to bring all of them back to a city like Bangalore, there's a big inertia now, because nobody wants to live in big cities and then only go to work 2 days a week. Because if you have to go to work only 2 days a week, why stay in a large city and pay a lack of rent monthly, etc., etc., right? So a new concept called hybrid came about, which is, you can work 2 days from home, 3 days from work, etc. And we feel as a company, a hybrid model is more suitable if the commute to your work is much lesser. You cannot be still operating where you have to travel 2 or 3 hours every day to work. So we came up with the concept that rather than moving people into metro cities, we should move the jobs into the tier 2 and tier 3 towns of India, right? So that is our mission and vision. So we've been reasonably successful, primarily because India as a country is also in the same direction, not only in Karnataka, but across many states. So India is moving from a 10-city model to probably a 100, 200 centric model, right? So every state has at least 8 to 10 cities which are being grown to become the next destination, so that people who graduate from these towns and cities don't have to necessarily move into metro. And metro has a very different purpose that it will serve going forward, right? So that is the mission we have accomplished. I mean, we have taken on. And I would say in the last 2 years or lesser that we have been operating, we are already live in 20 plus cities in India. We have created more than 1,500 job opportunities for people using our office spaces. And we are delighted that cities like Mysore, Trichy, Tirunelveli, Madurai, Mangalore are truly now becoming the lifeline of India, and we're happy to be part of this journey.
That's really, I see why social impact. I think you are truly working to develop those areas, and I think the workspaces are very critical to make such development happen. And I think this probably then easily attracts companies to come into these cities, and I think the economies of the cities also will grow, I think. So Santosh, tell us more about what our US attendees or Burlington, New England attendees can hope to gain out of this wonderful roadshow that you are putting together here.
Yeah, we're starting off from Princeton on 23rd, and then we're coming into Boston and having our event on the evening of 25th there. We want to come to Boston primarily to address the investors and the startup ecosystem, right? Who are particularly from the life sciences and edtech domains, because it's a very strong signature of this region, right? And the invitation is extended to individuals who are from these sectors and also outside of that. Attending the event, you get specific insights from senior policymakers who are heading the digital economy mission on the policies and incentives associated with the infrastructural investments in the state, in the Karnataka state. And then, we also get to hear a lot of the inspirational success stories from entities that have experienced the emerging cities of India, that journey in the recent past. Very important to kind of have a pulse of that. And then, of course, there's this whole understanding of the opportunities and the infrastructural strengths, a lot of clusters and things like that, which are catering to specific domains of the emerging cities, and how our organization can help with the strategic fulfillment process for the India pursuits, right? So typically you will have a lot of the incentives that are given by governments, but then what happens after that, right? From the soup to nuts, somebody has to kind of put it in place for you, and that's what we enable in a seamless, professional and reliable manner. And then, of course, you get a detailed understanding of the process that you have to adopt for a soft landing ecosystem in place for that seamless foraying into the emerging India. That's basically, in a nutshell, what you can hope to get out of this event.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I think there are many people who would love to actually do this kind of endeavors in India, but everybody gets a little nervous going into India because of the the threat of, there's so many variables that they cannot quite work with. But actually, the Boston area, we have had a couple of wonderful entrepreneurs. Desh Deshpande has done a lot of work in Hubli, and Gogrin Oliver actually started his company in Nagarkoil. So that we have a lot of people here who have really believed in this idea that India, every part of India can develop. So I think we will have some exciting conversations. I mean, there were just two examples. I know that there are many others in the Boston entrepreneurial space who are very excited about this thing, and to provide a one window or a beautiful seamless connection, I think could be a very, very dramatically altering thing for that kind of a relationship. So Ram, you have really put micrographio in this space of creating such social impact. So what do you see would be the impact both for US businesses and Indian businesses, and I think internationally, what do you see the impact of micrographio to be?
So we are at a very, very interesting inflection point now, Ranjani. What is happening globally are three things that we all need to be cognizant of, right? One is all businesses are understanding the need to be global, both in terms of their capabilities and also in terms of their consumer base, right? Very few businesses want to be catering to just the local audience, right? And India happens to be the major hub when it comes to two things, right? One is very, very talented and trained resources, right? Skilled resources. At the end of the day, almost 30-40% of potent engineers who are in the industry today are actually coming from India, right? Which is a very, very big number, right? Number one. Number two, the infrastructure in India has dramatically been extended to include all of India, right? It's not 5 or 10 cities that we're talking about. We're talking about hundreds of cities. So for any organization to include India as part of their global capabilities and global operations and global consumer base is actually an imperative that they cannot move away from, right? It is something that has to be part of every corporate and every entity. So taking these things into cognizance, what we are trying to do is make the relationship with countries like US symbiotic, because at the end of the day, California and US in a big way happens to be the bedrock of innovation, right? A lot of it is coming from here. But with the focus on the right institutions in India, the IITs and the IIMs and the IISCs and national institutes, I think India is not very far away when it comes to being a very potent force on technology and innovation. Yeah. So we see great opportunity for these two regions to collaborate with each other. I think the need for a symbiotic relationship between these two, countries and these two regions is much more acute than ever before. And we as an organization, want to use this, cusp as the foundation for us to actually be the bridge between the two economies, right? So that's what we're trying to do. I really feel that both USA and India or any other developed nation as a great opportunity to benefit from each other, right? Yeah. And hence USA happens to be a very important area of focus for us. Yeah. We'll be spending about a few weeks here trying to help everybody understand how India can serve, in the growth of the US economy, and yeah, especially now with some strains in the relationship between US and other Asian economies. Yeah, it's very important for us to look at India at a very strategic level, right, which is what we are trying to bring to the table.
Yeah, and the other thing I keep thinking is that demographically India has the the workforce of the future lives in India, I think, and I think to prepare for that, I think you guys are doing a really phenomenal job. So Ram and Santosh, one of you can answer this. Are there opportunities for young companies, who are startups? Would you encourage those kind of entrepreneurs to come, or are you looking for more seasoned companies to come and make a presence?
Sandy, I'll go first, and you'll add on to that. Yeah. So, in fact, this whole road show, Ranjani, is targeted primarily at startup companies. Okay, so 80% of our audience, we are expecting them to be startup. They could be anywhere in their life cycle. Some of them could be just incubated. Some of them maybe in an accelerated journey. Some of them may be having a lot of capital that's infused to them, but they're looking for expansion opportunities, etc. So we are primarily looking at them because the infrastructure that India is building is to actually not only give them global operations and capabilities support, but actually a lot of seeding on funding, a lot of grants, and many other financial support mechanisms have been put in place to help these companies really prosper. And we're also looking at India to be the base for many of these companies to cater to the Asian audience, right? I think we have a great opportunity there. In fact, some of the companies which are attending some of our sessions are sessions which want to dramatically expand in Asia, and they're looking at India to be the base from where they can do that. So more the startups, the happier we will be when we have these sessions, Ranjani ji. Sure. I'm really hoping that this session that we are having will help us pass the message around, and sure, we'll get good audience in terms of startup companies.
Fantastic. Santosh, would you like to add?
One other point is there's a lot of technology that is created here in the US, and there can be a transfer of technology precisely because the products that need to be developed and catered to in the Indian as a captive market itself, because it's more than 1.4 billion people, the consumption base is huge. And so the technology transfer can happen and they can produce it over there and they can cater to that market. Just as Ram was alluding, the Asian market is the bigger fabric, but India itself is the fabric, right? So that's the other key thing, which is tactically and strategically an advantage for the Indo-US relationship to be fostered in that manner.
Fantastic. Well, I'm really excited about the upcoming event. And so any final message or words of wisdom that you want to share with our wonderful entrepreneur community in the Boston area? Ram, to you.
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity, I think, for people just to come and understand how the landscape in India is changing, right? Whether you have a business that is ready for expansion to India or not, we can keep that aside for the time being. But just for people to come and understand how is the Indian landscape changing, how India is dramatically positioning itself as a market, not only for capabilities and operations, but also for consumers, is a big story that will get revealed as part of these sessions. And honestly, the quality of the people that are coming from India are technocrats and policymakers and people who have been in the business for 2-3 decades.
Yeah.
A truly walking encyclopedia of everything that's happening in India. So if nothing else, it's a great opportunity for people to come and hear them out and possibly make up their minds on what is the midterm, long-term strategy for them if they are running businesses. And we're also expecting some local industrialists to come and inspire them with some of the stories of how they've already embraced emerging India, right? To me, embracing emerging India is a key aspect to every business's success. So hopefully this will be the foundation where people can do that.
Wonderful. Santosh?
Well, all along, many events have happened, Ranjani ji, around investments, around pitch, startup pitches and things like that. This is an opportunity for people to come and know exactly how it gets operationalized, right? How things get implemented. That's the story also we have. So there's a larger sort of value proposition for the people who are attending this event from that standpoint.
Fantastic. Well, I truly am looking forward to the event, and I think definitely our community will benefit. So we thank you sincerely for bringing this event out to the Boston area, and God willing, together we will make a big difference so that both emerging US and emerging India can really emerge into a beautiful future. Thank you so much for your time. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much.